Welcome to the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast, the podcast that mixes wellness with personal development tips and info specifically for beauty industry professionals. I'm your host, Abby O'Sullivan, a longtime esthetician and lash artist turned wellness coach. With burnout and health issues on the rise amongst my beauty pro friends, I know we need a space to come together, to learn, support each other, and get the push you need to take care of your health. Together, we'll dive into topics like mobility training for a less achy body, managing stress and the chaos of running a business and handling clients, setting up your self-care routines, and so much more. You deserve to feel as good as your clients do when they leave you. Let's make time for you, starting with this podcast. Hey there, welcome back to the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast. How do you balance growing your family while also trying to grow your lash business? In today's episode, Erica Schramm is joining me to discuss the challenges of being a new mom and new business owner in a conversation that I have wanted to have on this podcast for a while now. As we know, I am a single childless lady. I have a cat. So I don't have that perspective, and I have wanted someone to share that with you because I know there are so many moms out there trying to do the dang thing and balance all of it, juggle all of it. And so today, Erica is going to share her unexpected journey into lashes and then all the ups and downs of finding your footing between employment and going solo as a new esthetician, and then having children, starting a family, and what that was like for her, some of the challenges that she went through, and just some tips that she has for you. And then she's also going to share about her pivot away from lashing into coaching, but into now social media management. So we're going to talk about that quite a bit. We also chat about the Lash Biz Babes conference, which is coming up May 18th and 19th. This is an online business conference for those of you in the beauty and lash industry to improve your mindset, expand your business knowledge, and connect with others. The link for tickets is in the show notes. I will also be a speaker at this conference. I'm so very excited and I can't wait to see you there. Without further ado, here's Erica. Hi, Erica. Welcome to the podcast. It's so good to have you on.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
Me too. I'm excited to have someone representing as a mom and business owner for all the moms running their businesses, trying to take care of their families, just like literally play all the roles at once. So I'm really excited to have you on to talk about this, like from your perspective. I'm a single childless lady. So
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. It's just a different experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to share some of that because it's definitely a lot.
Yeah. So I would love for you to talk about your experience growing a lash business as a mom. Just kind of start at the beginning for me. Like when did you become a lash artist? How did you get your start? And were you solo or were you working in a salon or spa?
Yeah, so I first got started doing lash extensions. Actually, my sister moved out of state while I was in high school, and she went to cosmetology school. And they said, we've got this, extra class you can take. It's like $600. You get the kit, you get the table with it. And she was like, should I take this lash extension course? And of course, me as a high schooler, I'm like, absolutely, you should, so that you can come do my eyelash. So she took this class. She would come home and do lashes on like myself and like all my high school friends. And then after I graduated, she actually became a lash trainer after that for a company. So she would come like back home to Arizona and like train different people, like salons and different things in the area. And so I actually sat through multiple lash trainings before I ever took one myself, which
Oh,
is
wow.
so
That's
funny because
nice.
I always thought like, yeah, I always thought like, I will never do that. It's so tedious, right? Like I would watch her do it and I'm like, absolutely not. But I graduated high school. I went like stayed in my hometown for a year, did community college, and was getting ready to move to go to like university and I was doing like a business degree. So I was 19 at the time, and I was 2 weeks out from moving to Flagstaff, Arizona. If anyone knows where that's at, I was going to go to like NAU and whatever, like everyone in my hometown did, right? But I was getting ready to move. I was 2 weeks out. I was enrolled in school, like had signed a lease, everything. Like everything was set for this move, right? And then 2 weeks before my move-in date, my life basically felt like it imploded. We had a lot of like very, I don't even know how to describe it, just like family problems at the time, like without getting too deep into it, like a lot of issues happening and just like very like I don't like I said, I don't know how to describe it, like painful, I guess, kind of family things
Mm-hmm.
happening at the time. And I went through a bad breakup and like didn't have a lot
Really
of
unsettling.
yeah, and my stepdad had passed away that my like senior year of high school, so that was still fresh. Like there were so many things in my life, and this is 2 weeks before my move-in date, and I basically decided like was like thinking about it and like praying about it and like trying to decide like what am I supposed to do here? Like do I still move? What like I couldn't figure out what to do with my life, and my sister was like, "Erica, you should move up to Utah with me and go to aesthetic school and you can go do lashes. They're becoming a thing. Like you should come like learn and do them." And I kind of was open to the idea. So I went and toured a school. We like drove up to Utah, toured a school, and I was like, why not, right? Let's go for it and do it. She's like, you can go to beauty school, get in-state tuition after a year and go finish your business degree after that. And I just basically decided that other place I was going to move to, like, I would not thrive there. I wouldn't do well there. I didn't have family. I didn't have friends. I didn't have any type of support. I just had this gut feeling like if I move there, it's not going to be good for me. It's not going to be good for my life. So I just decided to just go throw all of my plans out the window and go to aesthetic school to do lashes. And I'm so thankful I did that because it was so one of the best decisions I think I've ever made in my life because it changed my life so much. It was something I like going to aesthetic school. I toured one school and signed up. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was like,
Yeah.
let's go. I'm like reading the list afterwards. Here's all the things you're going to learn. It was like,
Wow.
great. Like,
Yeah.
I had no
Bonus.
idea what all this was going to be. Like I was in it for the lashes, right? So went to aesthetic school, absolutely fell in love with aesthetics. Had such a great school, such a great class I was in. And then after I graduated, I actually worked in a franchise studio, lash studio for about a year as their like lead stylist and trainer. And then went solo after that and went through all the fun things of becoming solo. So kind of have done a little mix of several things, working for other people, working for myself, doing booth rent, working from home. So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that because I feel like it's given me a lot of experience in the different arenas.
Yeah. Yeah. I can totally understand that. It's nice to have the perspective of all of that. And I always find it so interesting, like how we actually got into lashes and the twists and turns that life just throws at
Absolutely.
you and how we end up here. It's always so interesting.
Yeah.
So you went solo, and then how old are your kids? When did you have babies, like start a family and all of that?
So I went solo at the same time that I got pregnant for the first time, which
Okay.
was an ectopic pregnancy. So I was dealing with this major health crisis, is I guess
Mm-hmm.
what I call obviously this very scary experience and trying to go solo at the same time. So if you can
Yeah.
imagine how that went, it was not
Stressful.
it did
Yeah.
not go well. I basically just I didn't have the mental capacity to handle both at the same time. I so badly wish if I could go back and tell myself something like, okay, like get your butt in gear and start growing your business more before you have kids, right? Because it's a lot when you have kids trying to grow a business. It's not
Mm-hmm.
impossible, but it's just like I said, it's a different experience. But at the time, like with everything going on, I just did not have the mental capacity for both. So I kind of had to take a moment to focus on myself and healing mentally and physically before I could really go all in and focus on growing an actual like legitimate business.
Mm-hmm. So what were you doing in that time? Just like were you taking clients but just kind of like not? having the capacity to market yourself and kind of get out there as much as you wanted? Is that what it sort of looked like, or?
Yeah, basically. So I actually, when I left the franchise studio, I had a non-compete with them, so I actually couldn't do
Mm,
lashes themselves, and I had was just doing like other aesthetic services like facials
gotcha.
and waxing and things. So I was doing that part time, and I had gotten a desk job because I was like, obviously still need income coming in,
Yeah, supplement.
more than just part-time aesthetics clients. And so I was doing Saturdays. I had some clients, but the salon I was booth renting at the time kind of ended up being like a toxic work environment too. I don't know, that's a whole other story in itself. But yeah, it was trying to like get clients and like market myself and like how do I actually grow a lash business? Everyone's like just post on Instagram and they'll book with you, and that was not the experience that I had. So it
Mm-hmm.
was it was just too much for me to try to navigate these health issues I was having and trying to figure out how do you grow a business as like the only
Yeah.
person doing all of the things, right?
Yeah. So that is obviously like that's a huge challenge. And then what were some of the other like big challenges that you felt like you went through as you were trying to grow your business? And I guess how, not to be too personal, but so you can answer if you want or not, but
Hmm.
then navigating like getting pregnant again and trying to start a family. So did you take some time to kind of like work on the business before you guys tried again, or
So I ended up taking a little bit of a break. I pulled out from the booth rent situation I was in because, like I said, it ended up being
it
kind
was
of
toxic
toxic.
anyway? Yeah. Like, what?
Um, yeah, well, I mean, I'm going like luckily I did not have to have surgery for the ectopic pregnancy, but it's still you're getting shots of medicine, right? You're getting like your
Hmm.
blood drawn, you're getting ultrasounds, like it's very like intensive. You're at the doctor every single week. And
Yeah.
I was in and out of the ER multiple times and it was sucking so much of my energy. And that booth rent situation, she was like upset about it. Oh, I don't know. It just didn't work out that way.
Yeah. I'm
So
sorry
because of
that that
that,
was like your first foray into like, so
it
what
was
a
kind of,
time.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
when I
not
look
only
back
like
on that,
having
I'm
the
like,
personal, but like then the environment that you're in is not even supportive
yeah,
at all. Like, how,
yeah.
yeah,
I
horrible.
look back on that like I can't believe I thought that was normal.
Well,
Wild.
it's like the roll of the dice in the beauty industry and the environments, really.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So I took some time. I pulled out of that situation and I was kind of like, okay, what do I want to do with my business, right? Like, what do I actually want?
Hmm.
So I took some time to kind of figure out more of like a business plan, I guess, a business name, and who I want to be serving, and like kind of figuring out more of those foundational pieces. And then started after my non compete was up, I started taking lash clients again. And so, family and friends, people from the desk job I was working at the time, I had a few clients from like Instagram and Facebook and things that were coming to me as well. I was lashing from home. And so at that time, that's when I like got pregnant again. And, pregnancy after loss is also just a trip in and of itself because, at least for me, I'm just already an anxious person. So trying to navigate those things was like a lot, but I was really thankful because I had such amazing clients at the time too that were so supportive and caring, and they cared not just about their lashes but also me as a person. So I felt very fortunate in that aspect. That was something that was
Hmm.
beneficial for me. I was doing lashes from home when my first son was born, and that's kind of when I found myself trying to become a mom and grow a business.
Yeah.
Like all these stages of like trying to grow and like start a family, right? All these different experiences and the ups and the downs that come with them. So in this season of my life, I have 3 kids now, and I think the hardest transition for me was from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
Um, because just
Yeah.
trying to figure everything out, like how do I do this, right? It was a lot. And
Yeah.
so I just remember looking back, and there was one day, because one of the ways that I get through hard things is like, okay, I just need to get through another hour, right? If I'm sitting in a
Hmm.
class and it's boring, like, okay, one
One
more
step at a
hour.
time.
This is gonna
Yeah.
be over with, and I won't have to deal with it anymore, right? Like, so I remember being this time when I was sitting on the closet floor. We were in an attic apartment at the time, and just crying because I could not see like a light at the end of the tunnel for how difficult it was in this newborn phase. And he had been in the NICU, and how do I even, is this ever going to get better? And how am I going to grow? I want to be home with him and do lashes. How am I going to be a good mom and get through this challenge, but also grow my lash business? Like, it really kind of almost felt impossible at the time. It was a lot. But I look back at this moment and I'm so proud of that version of myself that pushed through that and kept trying and putting one foot in front of the other and just persevering through it, because there's no other way I could have gotten through that and come out on the other side to where I am today without just like persevering through it and not giving up. Because you could
Hmm.
easily give in the towel. Like, is that the phrase?
So I think it's
Throw in the
throw in.
towel.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
was
fine.
like,
I'm
that
really
didn't
bad at
sound right.
expressions too. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so easy to throw in the towel and give in to, self-doubt, self-criticism. It's really easy to give in to, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like self-destruction, but just like
Maybe
I
like
can't think.
self-sabotaging or
Yes, that's the word. I'm like,
yeah.
let's let us word that one. Yeah. Like self-sabotage and just like scroll on TikTok and kind of numb yourself in that way
Mm.
with like
And
doom
also,
scrolling or like
yes, doom
substances
scrolling.
or
Yeah.
like, and that's a lot of what's happened in my family in the past like generations before me, just like giving up, self-sabotage, like ignore, like sweeping things under the rug. And I just kind of looked at that. I was like, that's not what I want for me, that's not what I want for my family and my kids. And so it was a lot of having to face the difficulties and work through them and keep moving forward instead of just like giving in and playing victim to what the cards life was handing me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was a
What
long-winded answer, but
no, no, it was great. If you were to give advice to somebody who might be, because like that, like you said, like going from 0 to 1 and having a newborn while you're still trying to build a business, how do you balance? Like, how do you find balance? I'm sure as you're going through it, you're also like, how do I do this? Do you have any advice for somebody who might be feeling like that struggle of balancing like their family life, a new family life with their dreams?
yeah, absolutely. And I think that, well, one thing I would say is just that you can have both. I think a lot of people, especially moms, feel like they have to sacrifice everything and all parts of themselves for everyone else around them. You'll hear people say a lot, "Oh yeah, my mom sacrificed everything, did everything." And I don't feel like we have to sacrifice it all.
I have to
We
like
have to
pick a
take care of
side.
ourselves too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would say you can have both. You don't have to give up every piece of you and let yourself get sucked and lost and have motherhood be your only identity, right? And also like asking for support around you, whether that's paid support or any kind of free support or just, someone who you can trust who like believes in you, like having like a listening ear, that's so important too. I think if I could go back and even tell myself anything at that time is like it's okay to speak up, ask for support, whether that's from like your spouse or your family, your friends, people who can help you with kids. It's okay to get any kind of daycare or, like nanny to come to the house and help you so that you can go run errands and go do things for yourself too. And I think a lot of people struggle with mom guilt in the sense of pursuing their dreams instead of just playing very traditional like household roles. It's 2024. It feels icky to me to try and guilt moms out of being actual people by themselves, because I think that's one of the biggest things my business has given me is an identity, like because I love being a wife, I love being a mom, absolutely my favorite titles in the world, but I also love being me, and my lash business has given me like this outlet to be my own person still and to have something that is just for me because I enjoy doing it, right? I'm not doing it
Hmm.
because I have to. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. And that's been a big thing. So, yeah, I would say, ask for support, know that you can. It's okay to go for both your dreams and want to be like a good present parent, because that was absolutely like so important for me as someone who grew up in a broken house with divorced parents, and having like one of those parents be completely absent is like being present with my kids. You hear me talk about that all the time because I feel like it is so important. And having my lash business has helped me to be that more present parent that I want to be. So I think that it's absolutely like okay to have both, and it's going to help you grow and be the kind of parent that you want to be and raise your kids the way that you want to because of it as well. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I agree, and I definitely feel like I see people. I mean, this can happen in like relationships too, and it can happen in our careers where you kind of like lose yourself in
hmm
the process. But especially
absolutely.
like being a mom, like letting that be all encompassing and everything is for your kids. And then what happens when they grow up and they're out of the house and like you don't know like who you are?
It's
And
just
there's
you.
nothing wrong with that. It's just like it happens a
But it
lot.
does. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a friend in the lash industry who was just telling me recently that this happened to her mom. Of like she didn't know like who she was outside of that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. Do you have any client tips for dealing with people when you might need to deal with sick kids or like personal stuff? Obviously, we can get babysitters, but sometimes you
Um,
have to be there with them. Like
yep.
our clients cancel on us for some of those reasons. What are some of the best ways that you, or best practices, I guess, is really the thing, like to deal with those instances without feeling like, oh my God, everyone's gonna leave me. I'm a failure. Like,
Yeah, for sure. And it is hard because you when your kids are sick, I mean,
what
what
are
are
you
you gonna
gonna
do, right? What are you gonna do? You can't take them to daycare. No one wants to watch your sick kids for you,
do?
unless they're
Yeah.
like family, which we didn't have a lot of family support, right? So I remember, I'll give you an actual example of this. So when I was a lash artist and still taking lash clients, um, had this new client who was coming in, but the morning of woke up and my oldest son was throwing up everywhere. He had never been sick like that before. He had never thrown up before, and he just this poor little child being sick
Mhm.
like this for the first time, just so miserable. I'm like, absolutely, I'm not leaving his side. Like, there's no way, right? And I'm not gonna like dump him on our nanny. Like, no, like she doesn't want to deal with that. Like, I'm sure she would have because she
Yeah.
was a saint and the nicest person in the world. But like, no, that's not what I'm gonna do. So I reach out to this client, let him know, hey, like I'm so sorry, my son is sick this morning. Like I'm not gonna be able to come in. Can we, get you rescheduled? She was not happy about me not being able to come in and service her. And brand new client had never met her before either. I feel like this goes over a lot better with clients you do know because they're like,
Sure.
I don't know,
Yeah.
tend to
They
be
just
more
know you a little
understanding.
bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, she was not happy about this and was like, I need to get in today. Like, so luckily for me at the time, like I had another lash artist who was helping me take clients, like working in my studio with me. And so it
Okay.
was supposed to be her first day, like the next day. But I was like, hey, do you want to come in like a day early and take this other client? She didn't do anything wrong. She did a really great job on this client. And anyway, the client was just not happy. I think in those situations, good communication really helps too. Also, not feeling like you have to guilt trip yourself into keeping clients like that.
I would have been like,
You,
all right, well,
yeah, like
see you because
it's not a
I
good
don't know what you want me
fit.
to do.
Yeah. Like those types of clients they're not like they're always going to be that way, right? I was someone who wanted clients who were supportive of me being a parent. And understanding of that, it's okay to let clients like that go. I'd say that's probably the biggest piece. I feel like we kind of guilt trip ourselves into, well, I need the money, or if you really do need the
Hmm.
money, like make that decision how you need to make that decision. But like if you're gonna dread seeing their name pop up on your schedule every time they pop up, like it's okay to just let them go.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, just like good communication, setting good expectations with clients as far as what they can expect from you, what you can expect from them. And I think also it's a give and a take. So you're asking for clients to be understanding and respectful of you and like be flexible with you, showing them that same kind of grace if they have situations that pop up. I mean, if there's repeat offenders and, people who are like not respecting you or your business like often, obviously that's a different situation. But if you have a loyal client who's been understanding of you and like, okay, okay, you got to be there with your kids, whatever. If they have something pop up themselves, be understanding and be flexible with them. I think that my clients and I had this mutual respect in that way. And I think that that was really beneficial for me as a parent.
Yeah. A little empathy goes a long way. You don't have to
Absolutely.
be a pushover or like rollover for every little thing. But because I'm like, I try to have pretty, pretty solid boundaries and
hmm
policies, but also, I mean, sometimes shit just happens
Mm-hmm.
And I can either just get completely irate and work myself up over it, or we can just settle down, figure out the solution, and go on with our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, again, repeat offenders aside.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be situations where,
Yeah.
you're going to have to enforce your policies. It's not going to work out, whatever. But
Hmm. Yeah. Or like I have a client that I've had for a really long time, and just knowing what I know about what's going on in her life, like because I only work certain hours, certain days, but for her, if there's like every once in a while we need a different time, I'm going to do that. Like that's out maybe a little bit outside of what I would normally do. And she's always
mm-hmm.
very appreciative. That's because I know what's going on. And I'm like, you would you would do anything for me. I can
Mm-hmm.
give you this. I've had you for like 12 years or something. So like,
Yep.
I think we
Yep.
can make this special accommodation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you don't have to bend over backwards for people, but being, accommodating within reason, I think goes a really
Yeah.
long way, especially to keep loyal clients. They're going to come back to you because you're helping them out, they're helping you out. You have that mutual respect. So,
Yeah, this is a little bit ahead of like where I want to take the conversation, but it just reminds me of all the content that I see these days of people calling out their clients and creating like shitty content about their clients and how hard ass they are, how like blah blah blah. And I just cannot stand that type of content. I think it's
yeah, I'm not a
so
fan.
unnecessary. I think it's unprofessional. I don't think like I don't know. I guess if your clients think that that's like funny or whatever, but I'm not blasting the people that butter my bread.
Yeah, no.
Deal
And
with
and
that
that's
in
kind
your
of
own
how I was
emotional regulation,
too.
please.
Yeah, well, and like that type of content was becoming very popular about, I don't know, like a few 3, 4 years ago. And I remember I had like this client who, I don't remember even what policy she even broke, but there was some, I think she had like hadn't paid on like at her service or something like that. And I felt like, oh, maybe I should get on my stories and talk about my policies and blah, blah. And then I was like, no, that's so icky. I didn't feel good about it. And I was like, that's not going to
Yeah.
make me feel good. That's not going to make her feel good. She's not going to want to come back to me if she feels like, like I'm
Like you called her out
being
publicly.
passive aggressive about it. So I'm like, that just feels icky. And I did not do it. And I was thankful that I didn't do it. And it was like a one time thing, like totally resolved after that. Didn't have any other issues with her. And she was a great client for a very long time and someone I still talk to this day. So it's like,
Yeah.
I really, I don't know. It just wasn't for me either. Like the point of your
Yeah.
social media is to attract clients, not make them be like, ew, I'm not booking with her.
Have never really been into that, but that does sort of help me segue into how long were you in your career and when you decided to sort of pivot away and start doing more coaching and then like social media management.
Right. So I had been a lash artist for about 7 years when I
Okay.
closed my studio. I had already been doing coaching part time at that point. So I still had been lashing. I had other girls who had been lashing in my studio with me. I was doing like coaching, small group coaching programs online, just, getting geared up with that. I had been doing that part time online for like a year at that point. And basically, like when my daughter was born in 2020, which obviously was crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of sat down during maternity leave and was just like, what are the big long term goals that we have as a family? And how is my business aligning with being able to achieve those things? And I think I kind of just realized that being a lash artist was hard on my body at that point after doing it for so long. And B, that I didn't always want to be like exchanging time for money.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had kind of hit my max with as far as like how many clients that I was willing to take as a parent and how much money I could make with that. And I'm the kind of person who like I always want like a bigger, not a bigger, but just like maybe a different goal to work towards. So, after I built my clientele and was booked out. I had other lash artists working with me, and I kind of just felt a little bit maxed out with my
Yeah. Like what's
capacity.
next?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, well, what am I working towards right now? And not that I didn't have anything within the studio that I could have done better or worked, more towards, but what I had envisioned at the time was having a salon and having girls and working for me and or doing salon suites rentals or something. And after having the girls who were working with me, I loved mentoring them. and I realized I loved the mentoring part. I didn't like the managing part of managing the
Mm,
clients, managing the problems in the studio, managing
yeah. I
all of
could
the things
totally
that come
relate
with
to
that.
that.
Absolutely. And I think it just kind of was this wake up call of like, I don't really want that, I don't think. So what am I gonna do now? Like what can I do instead that's gonna be more aligned long term with what we want for our family and the kind of parent that I want to be? And everyone's different with what they're willing to do and the kind of life that they want to live. But I just knew that for me, being a lash artist, I had hit my capacity with that. I wasn't willing to take more clients. I wasn't willing to put my kids in daycare any more than they were like having a nanny. It just was like, okay, how can I continue to grow my business without taking more clients? So that's in 2020, that's when I started getting into coaching. End of 2021, both of the girls that I had working with me had one moved, one decided to go back to school to be a dental hygienist. So both of them were gone, and I was like, I didn't really enjoy that, so I don't think I'm gonna add like another person.
It's
But I was
kind of like
also
kind of a
doing,
perfect timing.
yeah,
Like,
right.
okay,
So
bye.
yeah, pretty much like, okay, well, that didn't, like I was hoping that that would be more of a long-term thing and it wasn't. So I was like, okay, I can bring in somebody else or, what do I want to do here? And I just kind of felt at the time I was feeling some resentment towards coming in to take clients, not because I didn't like them. I
Mm-hmm.
love my clients. They were the absolute best, so loyal, the best supporters. We had a very good relationship with them, but I just was like resenting having to come into the studio as often as I was. And it was kind of at a crossroads of I'm really feeling it on my heart to go full time into education and teaching. And kind of at the time, I was like, it would be really cool to do one lash training in person a month and then just do group coaching programs. And trying to kind of play with like what would my ideal business like look like what would I
Mm-hmm.
actually be doing, right? And I was doing a group coaching myself, like getting coached myself at the time, and was in this coaching program where everyone's like they were so encouraging and supportive of being like, make the jump. It's scary, but you're ready for it. So yeah, I made the decision to close my lash studio at the end of 2021. And that was a hard decision to make because that's the dream for so long, right? That's what you're working hard
Mm-hmm.
towards for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And also as an entrepreneur, some parts of it that can be scary, and especially as a parent too, is having consistency with income. And like you're taking care of not just yourself but your kids now too. I had built that up with my lash business. It was reliable, it was consistent, I wasn't ever worried about that. And so that was difficult to kind of let go of too. But at that point, I had also already scaled back on how many clients I was taking as well. So I just had maybe 12 clients I was seeing at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind
So
of
you were
where I
kind
was
of
at.
you were just like kind of slowly
Yeah,
like
like
backing
tutoring.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. And
Yeah.
like I that was when I had started like teaching lash trainings again. And so yeah, basically just decided to go full send on it. And then 2022 was doing coaching, and then I started social media management last year. And that transition into social media management was more so of just trying to stay in alignment still. Like, what do I actually enjoy doing? What parts? Because I kind of felt like I was pulling myself in a few different directions with coaching, and I just wanted to have something I loved that felt good, that felt aligned for me. And I wasn't always feeling that way with coaching. And not like I enjoyed it, but it just was kind of like I don't know if this is what I want to do long term of just coaching people. So I was like, well, what am I really good at? What parts of this do I really enjoy? I had dabbled with the idea of doing social media management before, but I was like, I don't know, scared, I guess, to go for it. I
Yeah.
just was
Nervous.
like,
Just
oh,
like
I can't do that. No, that's just like too much. I don't want to do that. Anyway, I decided this is what I feel like I'm really good at, like my strength. I've done this really well. I enjoy doing this. And then I was like, I'm letting fear be the driver in my business right now. Why am I letting fear take control just because I'm scared to do this? And so again, I was like, let's just go full send on this and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, then that is what it is. But I posted in 3 different Facebook groups, like offering, hey, I'm starting this social media management agency. This is who I am. This is what podcast I host. I host Lash Biz Babes podcast. We're, doing this, and got 30 plus people in the first 24 hours
yay,
and
that's
that
so
were
cool.
interested. Yeah. And it was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like this is crazy. I signed like my first 5 clients within a couple of weeks of that, and then continued, I've signed more since. And yeah, it's just kind of like snowballed in the best way possible. So I'm
That's amazing.
really enjoying that.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's been a transition of just trying to keep in alignment with the goals that I have and kind of parent I want to be. And I'm really thankful for that because, you know, I've always wanted the flexible job to be able to be there with my kids when I want to be. And even as a lash artist, you know, it is flexible. You can pick your hours, but I was missing bedtime a lot, putting kids to bed. And like I said, I just don't want to exchange time for money all the time. And so I love the flexibility of where I'm at now. So
Yeah, it's like each
it's
step
been a
along the
journey.
way, whenever you felt like a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the word is, like it's not resistance or not like really stuckness, but maybe just like you're right there that you've been able to sort of step back and question, okay, like what's working, what's not, and
Yeah.
extract that and then moving forward. That's really obvious, like in your story. So I know that's
Yeah.
not really as simple as I just made it sound, but
No, no, it's a lot. Well, and it feels scary too because it's outside of your comfort zone. We all talk
hmm
about being outside of your comfort zone, but that actually in reality does not feel good. Like,
no.
it's
Yeah.
scary. It,
hmm
like, for me, it's anxiety, like nausea. It'll get, I don't know, like, it physically, it manifests some physical symptoms from it. It's not a pleasant experience, but still being able to put myself outside of my comfort zone and, like, push myself outside of that. That's how I've gotten to where I'm at. That's how you grow.
Yeah. When you said
Yeah,
that you realized that you were letting fear be the driver, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because I kind of recently went through this epiphany myself because
yeah,
it is sort of intimidating. Like when you've been doing lashes forever and you feel like you could do it in your sleep, it's so robotic, you know, the routine, like how everything's supposed to go. And even like you whittled down to 12 clients and you're kind of resentful, but you're still there. It's because it's just like, you just know what to do. So you can do it and you can keep going. It doesn't mean you like it,
yeah,
but I run into that where it's like starting something new again can be just, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I feel like I'm the new kid again, but I've done this before. And if I can learn lashes, I feel like surely I can learn pretty much whatever I want to, whatever I might be interested in, maybe aside from like rocket science. I don't know, but like I'm not interested in that. Don't let the fact that you're kind of the new kid in this arena hold you back from just going after it because you've been the new kid before several
yeah,
times,
yeah.
more
I
than
like
that.
that.
Like, so
Yeah,
just jump in and have a little confidence in yourself.
absolutely. I love that because I mean, even if it's the same industry, like when you pivot that, it's a
Mhm.
totally new business. You're basically
Oh,
starting
yeah.
over.
Yeah,
So yeah,
even from like
2022
lash
was a
artist
trip.
to yeah, like even from lash artist to educator. I mean, then
Oh yeah,
you're
absolutely.
like, I am the expert, I am the teacher. Like I'm the one getting up in front of these people and trying to teach them and guide them and all of that. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
can be kind of wild.
Well, and all the issues that, you know, you have issues with clients, that's the same thing with students. Are you going to be able to
Yeah.
deal with
It's the
that? You
same.
know, like
It's
it's
the same.
different. It's
Yeah. And
it's a
depending on if
different
you
ball
work for a
game.
brand or whatever, there's that other relationship as well. When you went to post, were you mostly posting in like entrepreneur groups or like aesthetic groups? Who do you like to work with? That was too
So,
many questions at once. Sorry.
no, that's okay. I exclusively currently work with salons and beauty businesses.
hmm
I'm open to doing other types of businesses, but if it aligns or not, because I know what I'm good at on social
hmm
media and what I'm not good at on social media, right? I know the kinds of businesses that I can actually help successfully grow, and that's who I want to work with. So yeah, it was esthetician
Makes sense.
groups. Yeah. So I think I posted in three different ones because there's like some esthetician groups in Utah. I think it's like Estheticians of Utah. And then
Oh,
there's one
nice.
that's like Cosmetologists and Estheticians of Utah or something like that. I don't know the exact names. And then there's a beauty business or like Boise Business Babes or I don't know, something like that, but like local group who has a lot of local business owners. And all three of those groups let you post about your business in them.
Nice.
So that was nice and was able to do that. And that, yeah, that's where he got it started on here.
That's a really good tip because if you're thinking aesthetic groups or whatever, not all of them let you promote. And it depends, I suppose, on like who you do want to work with. But that's a really good tip is to look for the local groups. I would say if in case somebody is listening to this and they're thinking about the same thing. So do you work mostly with then local people or do you have a mix or like area local?
Right. So I actually don't currently work with any local businesses that are close to me. All of
Okay,
my clients are all across the country. We got
cool.
clients all the way from Florida to I don't I'm like trying to think of where, you know, Utah, like all over the place. So
Yeah. What are your top three tips for someone that is navigating social media while building their business?
this is always a good one because I feel like people, when they look for tips, want like very strategic ones, right? I could sit here and give you like, okay, A, B, C, here's the steps you want to take. And there's parts of it that are like that. But I think if you really want to grow long term on social media, grow your business, and you want to be successful at that and make the most use of your time, you have to really build up your brand and your community. And you're probably like, okay, well, how do I do that, right? Making the connections. So I think that that can come in the form of sharing, being authentically yourself and sharing pieces of you. Not that you have to dump your whole personal life online, but really thinking like the way I was taught this, the way I teach it is like if someone were to dress up as you for Halloween, what would they wear? So that other people would know that they're dressed up like you, right?
A
So for
t-shirt with
me,
my cat's face on it. That's
yeah, yeah,
literally
yeah, yeah. Yep, yeah, I'm like, for me, I'm like, I'd have a baby on my hip. I would be listening to Taylor Swift. I'd probably have pink and glitter and a kayak paddle. Like, those are things that make me me that people associate with me, right? I was the Taylor Swift girl in high school. Everyone that knows me in real life knows that that is a part of me, right? So people recognize me for that. They're always like, oh, yeah, I heard Taylor Swift's releasing a new album and thought of you, right? So that's something that people
hmm
associate with me. So then that's like a piece of me that I can be sharing online that people can make connections with me over, right? It's not, we're not having to dump all our personal things online. It's just, pick 5 things about you that you can incorporate into your personal brand and talk about those things because then people can not just get to know your services and what you do, but they can also get to know you as a person simultaneously. And it's going to go a long way in forging those connections and being able to help you increase conversions too, because they do just like you as a person, honestly.
hmm
And sometimes people won't like you, and that's okay. People are scared to put themselves out there because, like, well, what if, it makes someone not want to book with me? But if that's not like your vibe or your energy, that's okay. It's okay to attract and detract in that sense. Not every client is for us. This has helped me, not just for lash clients in the past, but also social media clients now. No matter what type of business you have, being authentically yourself online will never steer you wrong. And it can help you stand out too and help
hmm
them, want to book with you over other people. And then also, I like keeping things simple. So I think another tip is just repurpose content. Some people are so scared to use the same photo or same video or the same caption from a year ago. Just like make it simple on yourself. You don't always have to be creating new pieces of content every single time. Keep an eye on what is performing well, what gets you more clicks to your profile, what gets you more clicks to your external links. You can see all these insights if you have like a business or creator profile on Instagram, and you can repurpose that content later on. And then you can also repurpose across platforms too. So post it
hmm
on Instagram, have it automatically post to Facebook. You can post that on Google Business Profile. You can be putting this up in different places and not having to spend a lot of extra time, but you're increasing your visibility on different platforms instead of maybe just creating it for Instagram,
hmm
for example. So I think that would be my second tip. And then, like, the third tip, if you are a service based business, if you're local, you need local people that are following you, right? We focus
hmm
so much on other lash artists and other people, like, well, what are they going to think about me? That's not who your profile is for. You want to remember
Yep.
who your actual audience is,
Yeah.
because get so nervous about comparison and people judging us and whatever. And most of the time, the people you're worried about potentially judging you are not your potential clients, right? It's other lash artists, it's
Yeah.
people from high school, it's family and friends. Like, those are not the people that you're doing this for. And are you really going to let these people who you may or may not have seen in years, or they don't have anything to do with you, are you really going to let them make these decisions for you in your life?
hmm
Because I don't think that's worth it. And I have been the victim, quote unquote, of someone from high school judging me online. I've
God.
seen this person for literally over 10 years. Why in the world would I let that hold me back from my goals for myself and my family now?
You
Like,
know?
it does not matter. Your page is for your potential clients, no matter what type of service or business that you're offering. And keep it focused on that. Put your blinders on. It's okay to set boundaries on social media. You can block people, unfollow them, mute them. It doesn't, like, do what you need to do to make it a healthy place to show up to. I think
Yeah.
that's a bonus tip, because if it's somewhere you don't enjoy being, you're not going to be able to grow your business on it. And so
Yeah.
having that healthy boundaries, and even if that's like the time that you spend on it, having boundaries around that, do what you need to do to make it somewhere that's healthy and enjoyable for you to be, so that it's actually fun and it's not energy draining every single time. So
Yeah. I agree. I have several different accounts, but I recently cleaned up the one that I spend the most time on and filtered out some of the people that I was following into a different account. And I think that even on my Lash account, I follow mostly local businesses so that if I'm engaging with the people that like where maybe my clients, potential clients are going to
Absolutely.
hang out and see, or just really more as support because I don't really have to market my business that much. Like I work 2 days a week. So it's kind of like when you had 12 clients, it doesn't take much to be as full as I want. So I don't even
Hmm.
really worry about it. I should post a picture now and then, but to each their own. I just manage it the way that I want to manage it.
Yeah.
But like on the Lash account, I'm not like necessarily trying to, maybe I would follow like the brands that I use or something like that. But at this point in my career, that's not super important to me. If it is, like, I see no problem. Like, engaging and liking and like tagging and like just having a good relationship with them via social media, but maybe have a different account, like a personal account where you follow whatever you want to follow, or follow the follow all the cat accounts, or follow all the Lash people or whatever. And it kind of keeps it out of like your main visibility of you. Like when you open up the app, if you're really on your Lash account like more, then you're really just like engaging hopefully there the most, and then you can switch over to a different one and engage as much as you want. Like, sometimes I go to that account and I like engage for like 15 minutes and see what everybody's up to. And then I'm like, okay, peace.
Yeah,
And that's been
absolutely.
really nice for me because I was like, there's just too many different things and too much stuff that I am not necessarily interested in seeing every single time I open up the app. And I need to just like get this out of my immediate line of sight, I guess is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And then you're engaging with the subset of people that you need to for that account, right? So, like your Lash
Yeah.
account, you're engaging with local people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's local businesses, people who live in your area, doing that outbound engagement, like that's going to be beneficial for you. Versus, like, if you get on your personal account, you can actually see your family and your friends and, like, have that distinct purpose between the two. I like that.
Yeah. You can have up to 5 accounts on one like Instagrams, guys. So like,
Yeah.
max it
Trying to
out.
think of how many I have logged in on my phone between my own accounts and like my clients' accounts, and I don't even know. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah, well, I have a separate phone that is what I use for clients so that they don't
Hmm.
have to be on the same device, which is really nice. Like it's not connected to a plan or anything; it just connects to Wi-Fi, and you're able to use it. But like,
Yep. That's what I
that's been
have.
really
I have
nice.
like a separate iPad for like my
Yeah.
clients for the most part. Some who are logged in on my phone, if I like some I just have more tasks to do. And with being on the go with kids, like it's easier for me to have some the more
Absolutely.
time consuming ones on my phone so I can do it really quickly when I'm out and about. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is
I
nice
also
to have that boundary of like, okay, it's on the iPad. The iPad is at home. I'm with my kids. I'm going to be present with them. I don't need to be worrying about posts right now.
Yeah, right. I also think it, it could be useful for people to like utilize. It just kind of popped in my head, but like, utilize the scheduling features a little bit more if like you
Absolutely.
want a little bit less time on the platforms. And that's I feel like probably most people should have that by now in their accounts if not everyone, but you can actually schedule posts like either Meta Business Suite or Instagram like itself, and then it'll share to Facebook automatically.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, no, scheduling is so nice. Well, and especially when you do have multiple people you're posting for. So I use Metricool actually because you can connect it to like all of your different platforms, and I can put the same post in and it'll post it to Facebook, Instagram, and Google all at the same time. It's really nice. Plus, you can pull like reports and insights and things like more detailed than you can get on Instagram. So I really love it for that. And there is a free account on it, free version of it. So if you just want to use it for like yourself, if you're listening, like absolutely recommend that. Very nice
Yeah.
on Metricool.
Yes. Love that. What's been your favorite part about transitioning into social media management?
I think there's a few things that I love about it. First off, I just really love social media. For whatever reason, I've always clicked with it. I think I was just like very, like, I grew up when social media was becoming a thing, right? I was like a young, impressionable teenager and I just really loved it, right? I've always been like that. I remember in high school, I actually wrote a research essay on how social media connects people around the world in times of crisis. And the reason I picked that was because I wanted to pick something that was interesting to me so it
Hmm.
wouldn't be like this boring research essay, right? So I did it on social media because I loved social media. So I think just having it be something that I actually enjoy, like really enjoy doing. I love doing lashes too. And I miss that sometimes, but social media, I equally love doing that. So
Plus,
having it be
dude, the
something that I love.
flexibility of schedule is like
Yes. And
you
then that's
can
the
you
other
could work
thing.
like really you could bust some stuff out like 2 days a week and then just be like coasting the
Yeah.
rest of the week.
Yeah, and well, that's so
For
nice, and I think that's the other thing is like the flexibility of that with being a mom is unmatched in my opinion, at least compared to other types of businesses I've had before. Like I love Lash is because you can absolutely schedule things around your kids, and it's very flexible in that sense. It's just a different kind of flexibility with this, and like I don't know, I love being like in PTO. I love volunteering in my son's classroom and like doing all the holiday parties and stuff and being able to be there and also be making an impact in the industry and also be creating income for our family. It's been really great in that way. And I think that that's probably the other thing, like just total transparency. Like it is so, at least for me, it's so much less stressful with social media management where it's on like monthly retainers. It's a monthly consistent income versus coaching
Mm,
where I didn't have that built up as well. It's not that it's impossible to build monthly recurring revenue with coaching, but I didn't have my coaching business at that point. Sometimes it like some months were better than others and whatnot. And it was really stressful for me on the finance side of things, having it be like fluctuate so much sometimes.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I really, really appreciate the consistency of this because it reminds me of Lashes where it's more like, you have people who are coming back to you. I
And
really
even
like that part
more.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's honestly even more consistent and like with all of our policies as podcast managers too is just, having notice, plenty of notice usually. I mean, obviously things are
Yeah.
going to happen in any business, but it's nice. It's nice to know and you kind of know the workload. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It is. I really enjoy. I mean, I still like doing lashes. It's been good for me for like the socialization aspect. I don't have kids, right?
Right.
I don't have like people to talk to all day.
That's
So like
nice.
I do, yeah. So but I could see where in your case too, it's like yes, you have your kids, but you also have the activities related to like PTO and going to the school and stuff. So it's not like,
Yeah,
and obviously we have
thank
friends and
goodness.
things like that, but it's like you're still getting some sort of different types of socialization. Like we don't only
Yeah, I
live
need
for
it.
like it's not just me and my cat all the time,
That's
but
like
like
part of what I miss too, though, because it can be hard with kids because, like, at least where we're at right now, like, we don't have any family or friends. We moved last year and just completely didn't know anybody here. So I'm thankful to have those outlets still of meeting people with the kids stuff because, or I probably would have had to like start doing lashes again for the social aspect
yeah,
of
just
it.
like I just need to talk to some people this week.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
with lashes and social media, I think it's nice too because there's like a creative outlet with it too, which I
absolutely.
appreciate and love. So yeah,
Hmm. And it's
all
super
good
fun to
things.
help people with their business and like
Yes. Well, that was the other thing
show
I
them
would say.
how
Like,
cool they
yeah.
are, like hey, you could make it
So
like this,
yeah,
and they can get excited and inspired and just know that like that's taken care of. And yeah, I think it's so
yeah.
fun to
Like
brainstorm and all of that.
supporting people. Yeah, brainstorm, supporting them, helping them be able to grow and thrive in the business too. Like absolutely one of the best parts of it, and it's very fulfilling for me like having a social media client who came to me like, Erica, I am almost fully booked and I've only been doing this for as a solo artist for 5 months, and
Oh,
like
amazing.
how incredible that is to watch people's dreams come true or like have people like get their time back to themselves for their family or like they're on maternity leave and they don't have to worry about what they're posting. I've been there. I know what
Yeah.
that feels like. I literally was in labor posting on Instagram before, like making sure it was scheduled to go up, but
Gotta stay
naturally
consistent.
it didn't
Yeah.
go up. So like making sure like I've been there. I know what that's like and being able to support people in that way and like have them gain back some of that freedom from it and like grow their business. I don't know. The fulfillment out of that is just very wonderful for me.
I love that. I love that for you. And I love that for everybody else. So you also host Lash Biz Babes conference, and I would love for
Yes.
you to share what that is and what it's about. Give us some details.
Yeah. So This idea actually started on my last maternity leave last year. Was kind of like, well, it would be really cool to do like a conference for the podcast. And, when I was solo and trying to grow a clientele, obviously you've heard some of my story with that and like the struggles that I had and trying to get clients and whatnot. I just remember like I would look everywhere to see, well, where, how I build a clientele. And just at least at that time, there wasn't a lot of education and support around that. So I always told myself, once I figure this out, I want to help other people with it. I want to support people with that, and want to be able to make like business education in the industry and marketing education in the industry more accessible. So that's basically what I've done here with Lash Whiz Babes online conferences. Tried to make this conference where people can get this business and marketing education no matter where they're at in their journey, if they're solo or they're a salon owner, and have it be accessible to them physically and financially, because there's a time and a place for in-person conferences, absolutely. But when you're solo, like I was not in a position. People always say like, well, you could have gone if you wanted to. Like if you wanted to, you would, that kind of thing. But like I don't know, the position I was in, it just was not financially or physically possible for me to go to in-person conferences. And they weren't even like really a thing quite yet at that point
Right.
in our industry specifically, at
Yeah.
least.
The
So
specific like lash conferences. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it was just kind of like, well, how can we make this more accessible to people? How can we help and support people with where, meet them where they're at? And that's really where this idea was born from of, wanting to help people in that way. So it's for specifically for solo beauty business owners, not just lash artists. It can really be applicable to any type of beauty business, and helping you be able to like learn business skills and knowledge. It's like business marketing mindset type of things to help you be able to grow and thrive as a solo beauty business owner. So this is our second year of doing it this year, this May coming up. I'm so excited. We had such a wonderful lineup last year. It came together so beautifully and really was like everyone just knocked it out of the park. So we have speakers, we have prizes, giveaways, sponsors, and it's like a 2-day thing. All you get all the recordings afterwards. So if you can't catch them live or if you want to rewatch them later. And that was, I kind of took like my own feedback and feedback from other conferences too that I had gotten from people
Mm-hmm.
and crafted this in a certain way. Cause like some of the other ones, you only had like 30 or 45 days to watch like an insane amount of presentations, like
Mm-hmm.
30, 45 plus or whatever. I can't even remember how many there were, but there were so many presentations and you only have a limited amount of time to watch them. So I wanted it to be like, well, you can come back and watch this, because sometimes I think, we evolve in our business or we pivot in our business, and different speakers might resonate with you differently at different times in your business. So
Mm-hmm.
with this,
Very
like you're
true.
really able to come back to other presentations that maybe you weren't quite ready for, like being a salon owner or transitioning into education, things like that. Like those are a couple of the topics that we had last year. But this year, it's really about like creating more sustainability as a business owner and taking care of yourself, like physically, mentally, strategically, financially, and like really empowering you with the knowledge and support you need to be able to thrive in those areas this year. So I'm
Cool.
really excited for it. We've got
Yeah.
like I said, we'll have speakers, giveaways, some really incredible sponsors. So yeah, it's going to be a good
Amazing.
time.
What are the dates? Do you know?
So May 18th and 19th this year. It's a
Nice.
Saturday and Sunday, and it is all online, so you don't have to like take off from clients. I had some people who were listening while they were lashing last year, so
Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
you could be
you
in
don't
your
have to take
pajamas
off.
if you want.
Yeah,
You don't have to get
yeah,
dressed up.
watch from where you're at. Yeah, so it's nice. I mean, absolutely, there's a time and a place for in-person conferences. It's a different experience than that, but
Yeah.
you really want to like learn and continue your education. Like it's a really great way to do that, and plus you get to like ask questions too and like learn from really like incredible people. I try to make it like a good mix of people who are really, maybe like bigger names in the industry, or like seasoned speakers and like newer speakers and people who are like up and coming, and like really, like my thing is I want speakers who have the experience to help you grow, right? So that's how I invite speakers, is if they have the experience and the knowledge and the know-how, if they have done that thing before, like that's why they're speaking to you on that topic, because they're really,
Mm-hmm.
really, really good at it. So then you can get that education and that knowledge from them. So
Yeah.
it's a good mix of people. But like we had people like Michelle from PLA, she spoke last year. Kayla from Educated Artistry podcast, she spoke. Wednesday, there were my Lash bestie, Janessa, she spoke. Becca Romero, like Divine Lux, is it Divine Lux Esthetics? I can't ever remember her Instagram username. But anyway, like,
Yeah.
and that shows you like the range of people who we had there, and all of them were so amazing. And this year's going to be just as good. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited
well,
for it.
I love the availability of an online
Yeah.
conference because I mean I've gone to the trade shows, I've gone to smaller ones, I've gone to the Lash conference a million times, and they are quite the trip. So yeah, they can
Well, it
be.
becomes quite the
There's so
financial
many different
investment too.
exactly like
Yeah.
they're very different. Like all the ones I'm thinking about are very different experiences. They're all like there's so many good things about them all. But yeah, it can be, I mean, your flights, your
The
hotels, the ticket, the outfits, like,
the
not to mention
food,
you want to
like,
buy stuff.
yeah, trade
And
show.
honestly, like, I love buying stuff. I love the option to buy stuff, but it can also be kind of a distraction too. I don't know how many
In a sense,
freaking types
yeah.
of lashes do you need, but like, I don't think I'm the target demo anymore either. So that's
Yeah,
just me.
yeah, yeah,
I have to
yeah,
say
I can
some of
see
this
that.
stuff and just like be like, disclaimer, I am not the target demo because I'm like, I want to try stuff here and there, but I mostly just like to see what people are doing and who's like new and talk to them as business people, not really
Absolutely.
as like, I want to buy your stuff. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting. But I do love the online option, and I think that's great. I
Yeah,
love being able to just access from home and not have to worry about the stress of that, especially if you do have kids. Like one of my clients yesterday was leaving on vacation. She's just like, I don't know, at this point, the ages my kids are at, I don't even know if it's worth it. Like I've had to do so much work just to get them to be ready for me to be gone.
yeah,
And she's like, when I
absolutely.
get there, when I have like set my bags down, I will be excited. But like, I have to get through this day. She's a hairstylist too. So she's like,
It's
I
a
just have to get through this
lot.
day. I have to get through, everything. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, my daughter still to this day is like, Mom, I missed you so much when you went to, went on that trip or whatever. And like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
it's
like,
hard,
you're
but
like, why do you remember that child?
right. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's
It
so
is what it
cute.
is, but
Yeah.
one thing, but with the social aspect of in-person conferences, like obviously that's a different experience when you're online, but we try to incorporate that in the sense of like making online lash friends too, because we all know that like your online friends you make, they ride for you so hard compared to like, I don't know, sometimes your family and friends are just like, meh,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
They get
And
it
like
because
you
we're in
get
the
these people who are
business.
support you, yeah. And
Yeah.
so we actually have like last year we did it with a Facebook group, and I think that's how we're going to do it again this year. I'm like looking into a couple different options for that, but it's nice because you can interact with not just like the speakers and the sponsors, but also like the other attendees too, and
Mm-hmm.
like get to know people and connect with them and relate with them and make those connections. So I love that
Yeah.
part of it too, because we have such good conversations, like even just in the Facebook group, not even like
Yeah.
with the speakers actually speaking. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And a way to, kind of, it's still a different experience than in-person networking, but still like incorporating that piece into it too, instead of just like having presentations to watch. So,
Yeah. Different, but not any less valuable. Like,
right. Just in a
I
different
think,
way. Yeah.
especially like for people who are more introverted, that online chat could be where they're like, they're in it, They're like, oh my God,
Right.
this is amazing because it's just not as it may be intimidating. So
Right. Well, and then it
I
can be
love
more
that.
long-term support too, because then you have like these internet friends who are doing the same thing, and you've created this online connection with them. You can come back to that when you need to, versus
Hmm.
like maybe we met someone in person and you didn't follow, like you meet them one time, maybe you don't connect with them again for whatever reason. It's just
Yeah.
different, not
Yeah.
necessarily in a bad way, but
Yeah.
different
Totally.
experiences. So yeah, I'm excited.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited for that for you and for everyone. Tell us where everyone can connect. Like, what are your best Instagram social areas for them
Yeah,
to connect with
so
you?
I am mostly like most active on Instagram. So it's at XO Erica Schramm. It's ERICASCHRAMM. My last name's kind of hard for a lot of people.
It's okay. I'll link it in the show notes,
It's
obviously.
yeah. So I went from like a very simple, easy last name to like a very long, like, how do you spell that? And then like they get it wrong still. But yeah, so at XO Erica Schramm, that's where I'm at on Instagram and TikTok. And
Perfect.
yeah, for, social media management stuff, our business is Beauty Core Pro. We do have an Instagram page for that, not as active on there because most of my time and energy is dedicated towards client
Clients.
accounts.
Yeah.
And I actually end up
Our
posting
socials
on my
always go by the
own.
wayside.
Yeah, well, and I end up posting a lot for that on my own, like, EXO, Erica Schramm account. So anyway, yeah,
Hmm.
that's where you can find me.
Yes. And then everyone go check out her podcast, Lash Biz
Oh
Babes
yeah, I'm like, how did
podcast.
I forget? Yeah, Lash Biz
That's
Babes
okay.
podcast.
We have little things. We'll get there.
Like, right? And Abby was recently on too. We had a very good conversation. So if you want
Yes,
to
we
come
did.
listen to that one, she's
Yes.
incredible.
And then where can they find out more information about the conference if they're like, I actually specifically need that information now?
Yeah, definitely. So it's lashbizbabesconference.com. You can find all the information for that there. It's going to be, by the time this airs, it should all be like rolled out with, speakers and different information for this year's conference. But yeah, it's low cost. The price does go up as it gets closer to the event, but once everything's going to be launching March 2nd, and the pricing will start out at 149. So, and
Cool.
there will be payment plans available as well. So that
Yeah.
makes it nice because then you
Very
can
cost
break up the
efficient.
payment. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, yeah, lashbizbabesconference.com, or I will have it linked on my Instagram page at that point too. So,
Cool. Yay.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing so much of your story, like the personal bits and all of your wisdom and your tips on social media, and just really the very inspiring stories of pivoting and figuring all of that out, because I feel like that um like just knowing that other people are going through that, I think is really helpful. And as I've navigated that myself, I don't feel like I knew as many people that had been doing that. And now I feel
I
like
love
we see
it.
it. I'm like, thank God we see it so much more. It's more normalized, I guess, it's more common
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something. So
absolutely.
yeah, I love that. So thank you so much for all of your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you and being able to share my story. Like, I think it needs to be talked about more. So I really appreciate, like, motherhood and business. So I really appreciate
Hmm.
you having me on and letting me talk your ear off about it.
Thank you for tuning into the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes, leave a review, and share with your friends in the beauty industry. Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast is produced and crafted by Wonder Podcast Productions.